All right. Good morning, everyone. For those of you who don't know, my name is Janice Kugel. I am the participation lead at Sport Nova Scotia. I'm also a rugby coach, an athlete, a board member, and like many of you, a female leader. I'm so honored to be able to be the chair of the Women and Girls Task Force, as well as one of the organizers of this fabulous event. We're so happy that you all chose to be with us this morning. I would like to begin by acknowledging that the members of the Shattering the Glass committee are located in Mi'kma'ki, the traditional territory of the Mi'kmaq people. This territory is covered by the Treaties of Friendship and Peace, which Mi'kmaq and Wolastoqiyik peoples first signed with the British Crown in 1725. The treaties did not deal with surrender of lands and resources, but in fact recognized Mi'kmaq and Wolastoqiyik title and established the rules for what was to be an ongoing relationship. We honor the Mi'kmaq people and who have taken care of this land, and the Shattering the Glass committee shows respect for this land and work to make sure we keep taking care of it for all of us. We are all treated. In addition to Sport Nova Scotia, who employs me, I would like to thank the following partners who have helped shape this extraordinary event: the Canadian Sports Centre Atlantic, Support for Sport. Oh, my computer is frozen. Canadian Sports Centre Atlantic, Support for Sport, Nova Scotia Gaming, as well as the Province of Nova Scotia, the Department of Communities, Culture, Tourism, and Heritage. Throughout this virtual conference, we encourage you to share your experience on social media by using the following hashtags: STG 2022, we are STG, and see me at STG. Just a couple little housekeeping things for all of us. Just to preserve bandwidth, because there are quite a few people on today, please turn your camera off and mute yourself during the major sessions. When you're in the breakout rooms, please feel free to turn your cameras back on. We will give you the opportunity to ask questions by unmuting yourself and actually speaking if you'd like. If you are an NCCP coach, you feel free to change your visible name to your full name or your NCCP number, and coaches can receive credit in the locker for today's session. If you're experiencing any technical difficulties, please message the Shattering the Glass hosts. There are 3 of us currently on here today that have host in our name. You can reach out to us and we will help you as best we can. We ask that you please actively participate in any of the polls that we have today. It helps us to learn who's in the room and what we can do better. Please direct any questions that you'd like to keep anonymous to the Shattering the Glass host. Otherwise, feel free to toss them in the chat and we will answer them when it is an appropriate time to answer them. Once again, the sessions will be recorded and we'll be posting them to YouTube to view by a private link, as well as anyone who's registered for the event will have the opportunity to have this recording. Here's a bit of how we're going to run down today. And I would like to, and I'm very pleased to welcome and introduce you all today to today's MC and athlete panel moderator, Lindsay Doyle. Lindsay is a Nova Scotian, a mom of 2 boys, a photographer, an entrepreneur, an athlete, and the creator of the inspirational book, Strong and Free, Stories and Photos of Canadian Women in Sport, which is based on the popular Super Role Models project of hers. I could go on and on about all of the great things that Lindsay has done and continues to do, but I'll let her tell you about them instead. Lindsay, welcome.
Hey. Thank you, Janice. Get started here. All right. Thank you, Janice, and thank you everyone for being here today. I love this conference so much. I've attended 3 out of the past 4 conferences, in person and online. And I always get so much out of it. It's just such a pleasure to be here and share space with the leaders in the sports world here in Nova Scotia. For those who don't know me, my name is Lindsay Doyle, and I'm a photographer, an author, and an advocate for women in sport. I grew up playing a ton of sports myself, and I'm still pretty active when I can be, despite what's been going on the last 2 years. I've coached, I've volunteered, I've sat on boards, And I'm now a mom to two boys, 14 and 11, who are heavily involved in sports themselves. So I've had my hand in a lot of aspects of sports over the years. I've been a photographer for almost 17 years now, and I've always been drawn to photographing women in particular. And I'm known for pushing the envelope just a little bit when it comes to societal norms and the way women should look and act. In 2018, I was watching the Winter Olympics on TV, and I noticed they were showing equal coverage of men's and women's events. And I remember thinking, this is great. Like, this is so cool. I love seeing this. But then afterwards, I was like, wait a sec, why isn't it like this all the time? I remember thinking, that's not really cool that the media doesn't show more women's sports in mainstream media, like on a regular basis. And then I remembered, I'm a photographer, like, and I also know a lot about sports. So maybe I can merge these two things that I love and bring some attention to this somehow and keep the conversation going about women getting more attention in the media. And so this has pretty much consumed my life for the past 4 years since the last Olympics. In the beginning, when I started really looking into this project, I thought I'd just reach out to a few of my athlete friends and maybe come up with 10 or so profiles, do a little photo essay, share them on Facebook. Then people started getting wind of what I was doing, and I started getting emails, and from all over, lots of emails, like so many emails. I couldn't even keep up with the emails. And then it clicked in my head. I was like, this is so much more than just a little photo essay that's going to live online for a little bit and then disappear. In my head, I was like, obviously, this needs to be a book. Like, this is a big deal. And I could tell that so many other women and people out there were really passionate about the same thing I was. So I just started photographing and interviewing a lot of women. I opened it up not just to athletes, but to coaches, to officials, to volunteers, and even parents, and anyone who worked with female athletes. And I just started really listening to what they were telling me. And I started to compile this really unique collection. I put thousands of kilometers on my car. I was just there. Anytime someone wanted me there, I was there. And I was meeting women during these like 10 p.m. practices on a field across town, or at 5 a.m. in the gym in the morning, because, you know, we get the crappy times. I was just everywhere. I collected everything I could until early 2000, and then COVID hit. At that point, I couldn't be with people in person anymore. So I was like, this is my cue to start pulling this book together. I had enough interest in this project that I probably could have kept shooting for like 2 more years after that. I won't talk too much about the actual making of the book, but there's one important piece I wanted to mention. The interest in this project and in this book as I was making it was off the charts. Like, I was on the news, I was in the paper, I was being interviewed for podcasts, and it seemed like everyone was really, really into it. Obviously, who could blame them? These stories are incredible. Like, these women in this book are incredible. But when it came time to pitch this book to publishing companies, it was, you know, the ones with the money, it was silence. Which is kind of funny. I pitched this book to dozens and dozens of publishers, and it was rejected over and over again. I could wallpaper my office with rejection letters. I received great feedback, but at the time, nobody was willing to make the financial investment in me or in these women or this project. I even applied for grants, I entered contests. This project just didn't fit in anywhere at the time. This was only 2 years ago. I was devastated. After a few weeks, after I scraped myself up off the floor, and I was like, you know what, I got to figure this out. If I'd learned anything at all from the women I'd been photographing for the past 2 years, it was resilience and persistence. They kept showing up. And so I said, you know what, I have to keep showing up for them. They kept motivating me to finish this project. And despite all the obstacles they had had in their ways over the years, I felt like I was kind of in the same boat as them. So long story short, I taught myself how to self-publish. I had no idea what I was doing at the time. And to be honest, I have no clue how I actually did it, but I did it. I invested in myself. And I'm so proud of the product that we created. This book is over 180 pages, and it features over 100 women, 75 stories featuring 50 unique sports, all ages, all backgrounds, all abilities, from beginners to Olympians. And in my opinion, it's a true cross-section of Canadian women in sport today. To my knowledge, it's the largest collection of its kind in the country. My hope in creating this book was to show young girls their future, and I wanted to show them that sport doesn't end at a particular age, and there is room for everybody. This conference and the fact that everyone is here today, for me, is proof that we're on the right track. So thanks very much, Janice, for the introduction and for letting me do my little book spiel. And I'm going to turn it back to you.
Absolutely. So in interest of kind of capturing where everyone is, we would love to know who is online with us today and where you are coming from. So I'm going to launch a little poll. What is your role in recreation and or sport? And you can select a couple of these if a couple of these areas fit you. Love it. So it looks like we're just about there at everyone answering the poll, and it looks like we are about 50% athlete and coach, with about 30 to 35% board member, employee, and other. If you fit in that other role and you're not captured in one of these, we'd love to know what it is. So drop that into the chat box. At the bottom of your screen, you'll see a little kind of like chat bubble. You can click on that. You can actually type in what that other role is that you play. Mother of an athlete, absolutely. Parents. Great. So I'm going to club team manager. Love it. Doctoral student studying. Love that. Physiotherapist. Cool. So you work in sport and with non-athletes. Very cool. Okay, so we're going to end that poll, and I will share the results here so you can all see. So we ended up with about 54% of us on the call, or 54% of people identify as being a coach, with 51 coming in next as an athlete. Interestingly enough, our third largest group is board members, which is fantastic. I would also like to know today where you're joining us from. So the first 6 options are purely selfish data from me in Nova Scotia. Are you in the Central Region, the Valley Region, the South Shore, Fundy, Highland, or Cape Breton? And then, are you from another Atlantic province, not Nova Scotia? Are you from a different Canadian province? Or are you joining us from outside of Canada? If you're joining us from another Canadian province, once again, throw it in the chat box. We love to see our reach. We love to see who's joining us. I know that Anna is originally Nova Scotian, but she's not currently residing in Nova Scotia, so we'll hear from her later today. So share with us where you're from. Right. As you can see, 57% of folks are joining us from the Central Region. We have a few folks from all of our other regions in Nova Scotia, and 3 people joining us from outside of Nova Scotia, which is really nice. Original Nova Scotian in Ontario now. Love it, Fede. Great. Well, thank you all so much for participating in that. That really does help us a lot in understanding who's here and who comes. Before we jump into our breakout panels for today, and in honor of International Women's Day coming up on Tuesday, we would love to share a short video from our partners, our wonderful, fabulous partners at Nova Scotia Gaming Corporation and Support for Sport. So bear with me while I transition here, and someone can give me a thumbs up that you are able to see this video, and even better, hear this video. Great.
Nova Scotian women are a force to be reckoned with. They are the leaders, teachers, organizers, and creators who blaze trails as they guide and inspire us, creating opportunity along the way for those who follow in their footsteps to reach even higher. We are proud to know them. We are proud to support them.
Awesome. So I'm going to hand it back over to Lindsay to introduce our panel options for your next little breakout session.
Awesome. I love that video. Next up, we have our first breakout sessions. You have two options to choose from this morning. You can attend the She Plays Grant panel session, where you will hear from 3 of the 4 community sport organizations that receive funding from a project that was designed to test ways to keep girls in sport in real time. With funding from Sport Canada's Innovation Initiative, the project engaged girls aged 11 to 14 around the critical issue of their retention in sport. The clubs that are part of this panel are the Sonobe Aquatic Club, the Truro Saints Rugby Club, and the Halifax Hurricanes Ringette Club. Your second option is to hear from panelists Chelsea Curry about Girl Boss and other fantastic female-focused initiatives happening in the Cape Breton Regional Municipality, and Kim Primer from the Cape Breton Blizzard Female Hockey Association.